Hi, I'm Kim Halford from the University of Queensland, and this is my colleague Nick.
Hi, Nick Baker, and we've been doing some research over the last year on the relationship standards of same-sex couples, which is particularly interesting at the moment. And in the last year, we've kind of seen a huge public debate and plebiscite on marriage equality, which resulted in the passing of marriage equality just after we finished this article.
And we thought since same-sex marriage was now legally recognised in Australia, we could go next and say, well, what do people want in same-sex relationships, married or not? And so we started off by asking people what they thought was important, where 0 meant not at all important, 5 meant extremely important. And we started with some of the stuff that have been found in heterosexual couples to be important. Romance was one area, or couple bond, which is how much you express love and caring towards the other person, whether you're psychologically intimate with each other. And we also looked at responsibilities, which were things like maintaining relationships with extended family, maintaining harmony in the relationship, and being respectful towards each other. And we thought those things would be pretty important, whatever your sexual orientation.
Yeah, and then we moved into developing some new scales which we thought might be specifically relevant for same-sex couples and the LGBTIQA+ community. So we looked at relationship outness, which really looked at coming out as a couple. You know, were you open about your relationship status with family, friends, at work? Do you show public displays of affection? And we did this in the context of a heteronormative society to see what these same-sex couples were dealing with. And so we also looked at how couples coped as a dyad, so dyadic coping with homophobia in the face of instances of homophobic rejection, discrimination, harassment, or abuse. And then finally, we looked at sexual openness, so especially in same-sex male relationships, in previous research that they've found that monogamy sometimes is not an iron set rule. So we looked at that as well.
And so then we looked at the basic psychometrics of these new scales, and we found they hung together as we'd hoped, which was encouraging. And then we just looked at the strength of endorsement of these different standards in our same-sex attracted folks and in some normative data that we had about heterosexuals. And what we found in the romance and in the responsibility areas was what same-sex attracted folks wanted was very much the same as what heterosexuals wanted. A lot of similarities, and that was true for men and women, and it was true for people who are currently in relationships or people who are currently single.
Yeah, and then in the new scales for 2 out of 3, we found really similar stuff, that dyadic coping with homophobia and relationship outness really did function as part of this couple bond and romance higher order factor. So yeah, the pattern of endorsement was really similar. Sexual openness was endorsed really quite low. It was obvious that it was important for a subsection of our sample, but by and large it wasn't endorsed very strongly.
I thought one thing that was kind of interesting, we did find that folks who identified as bisexual endorsed the importance of sexual openness a bit less than the folks who were saying, I'm same-sex attracted. And we wondered if that might be because there's a bit more discrimination and lack of understanding about bisexuality. So other sexual minorities, particularly smaller sexual minorities, might be subject to even more prejudice than the same-sex attracted folks. If you want to know more, have a look at our article on family process.
Yeah, please enjoy.